Hello, welcome back to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King and today I'm filming my annual games in my collection that we've actually played. Either I've played solo or I've played both solo and with my gaming friends. But this year is a bit of a difference because on the previous 2 years that I've done this, I've only done a 10 down to 1. But I've got so many what I think are good games in my collection that some of them just didn't make a list, and personally I didn't think that was right. I didn't think it was fair because they are some cracking games, some that not everybody is going to agree with, but for me they are the best games in my collection. So this year I've extended the list and I'm doing this one, which is a 20 down to 11, and then I'm going to do another one in a week or two where I do my 10 down to 1 as I've done the last 2 years. Also with this video, in the second video, I've got a new game in my top 10, at least one new game in my top 10, and for that game I'm going to be giving away a prize to somebody who comments on both this video and the next one with their game that would make a 20 to 11 list in their collection that they've played, and then also if they comment again for a 10 to 1 game, and then I'm going to pick that person and then I'll contact them, let them know that they are the winner. If I get enough people who do comment, then I'll do a random draw. So all you need to do is comment on each video with your game that would make the list. You don't need to tell me which number your game would be on that list if you don't want to, just that it would be in that bracket of either 20 to 11 or 10 down to 1. Let me know who you are, where you are in the world, and yeah, just comment on the video what you think to the games list, and we'll send you off if you want the prize that's on offer, which I will be telling you about during the next video. And if you want that prize, I'll send that off to you, or if you don't, then what I'll do, I'll pick somebody else and then we'll sort out that prize for somebody. So without any further ado, let's get started with this list. So we start at number 20, and number 20 is a game that's been in my collection for a while now. It's also a game that myself and my friends did the play testing for the actual company, which is Fantasy Flight, and the game is Battle for Rokugan. So this is an area control game based in feudal Japan. So you each take control of a house. You've got your own sort of player screen with some tokens behind it, and you pick a set of tokens each round to play out on the board. They're played where you know what they are, but your opponents don't. And then at some point during the round, once everybody's done that, these tokens are revealed, and then certain things will happen. Now they're battles, or people will sort of gain more areas, or they'll gain certain things because they've placed them there. Sometimes they will place tokens which means you can't fight there and it's now a peaceful region. There's 1 or 2 islands on the board that you can also go to. But yeah, we did play testing for this some years ago now. It is a 2 to 5 player game, and we really enjoy playing. We don't get to play this enough, and simply we don't get to play enough games like a lot of people don't, because we don't meet enough times, and also when we do meet we keep buying new ones, and we never get to play the old ones that we really love to play enough times because we're playing new ones. And each year we keep saying, well, let's not do that, but we always seem to buy more games. We go to conventions like UK Games Expo, We buy them on the internet when there's sales, when we do swaps. There's all sorts of reasons that we get new games, but we continually get them, and all that does, it means that games like this don't get to the table often enough. It's probably been 2 or 3 years since we've actually played this, so we need to really have a crack at this again, because it is a fantastic area control game. And that's my number 20, Battle for Rokugan. So number 19 is a game that I got exactly by means that I've just said, and that was, I did a swap with somebody, and this game is by Sweater Bear Games. It's a 1 to 4 player game, and it's called Bear Mountain Camping Adventures. So basically, you're out on the road, you're trying to sort of move through a sort of camping region. You've got a map where you will traverse around different campsites. You'll collect different resources. You have to build up those resources and pay resources to move into the next sort of better campsite. And it's the first person to get to Bear Mountain campsite that potentially wins the game. Now, we've only played this once as a group, but I've played it a few times now solo, and I think this is a really nice game. It did take a bit longer than we thought it was going to take, simply because we were trying to sort of maneuver our pieces around the board, and sometimes you can actually move back to different camps if you need to get different resources and they're not available where you are, or you meet various things out on the board. When you reveal tiles, you could reveal a bear, and that will send you back down to a camp or two lower than where you are, so you have to then build back up. So it's a bit sort of not like almost like a snakes and ladder type thing, where you can climb up the sort of different areas of the board, and then you'll meet things and they will send you back down again. So that is a very sort of broad analogy of how that works. It works very similar to that, but obviously there's different things that will trigger. But I really like this, and I got this off somebody, as I say, who his group didn't think that they would get this to the table enough, and that's proven to be the case with us. But I do play this quite often solo. So that's Bear Mountain Camping Adventures, and if you haven't seen this one, it's well worth checking out. So number 18 is a game that we do play quite often, and when we do, we love playing it, and that's Nemesis. So we've got that here. Obviously Nemesis, if you are aware of it, again, this is a game that you can play solo, but it's loosely based around the Alien films. So you'll be traversing a space station stroke spaceship, and you obviously have to avoid being caught, eaten and killed by the aliens, or taken away for them to sort of incubate you. You're playing different members of the crew. This is more sort of a broad thing, and takes a lot from several of the different films. So some of the characters in there you won't sort of recognise from the first couple of films, but some of the sort of later ones you will. And yeah, this is just a really good game. You can do a bit of backstabbing in it, because certain of the objectives says that you've got to be the only survivor, or you've got to make sure that character X dies, which to be honest, a lot of the time the characters do die, because it is a very difficult game to win, simply because of the way that the game plays. But in that, you've still got that thing where you're hoping you do win, even though, as I say, it is a very difficult game to win at. As I say, I played this several times solo, and we've played it a few times as a group, and we really do enjoy playing that. So next on the list, at number 17, we have Raiders of the North Sea. So this was in my, I think this was in my top 10 last year, but this year it's dropped down, simply because I've extended this from sort of a top 10 list of games. These not necessarily the top 10 games of all time for me. These are just the games in my list in that particular order, that when we've played it, these move up and down on the list, and sometimes these lists change simply because other games come in and they take the place of games that are already in there. But Raiders of the North Sea, again, is another game that we always enjoy playing, obviously Viking themed. Absolutely fantastic game by Shem Phillips and Garfield, and one of their best, if not still their best game. For me, the second in their series of games that I like playing is Architects of the West Kingdom, but for me, Raiders still remains, for me, their #1 game. So coming in this year at number 16 was a game that I said last year, if you watched this list and this video last year, had dropped out of my top 10, but they were bringing out episodes 3 and 4 of the game in 2025, and that would hopefully put that back in the list. Well, it has, but only because I've made this extra list of 20 to 11, and that game is from Mind Clash, and it is Perseverance. So this obviously is a mammoth game. This is just one of the boxes. There's another box of this size, and as you can see, it is huge, very deep, lots of miniatures, very miniature heavy game, and most of those miniatures are dinosaurs. So in episodes 3 and 4 there's even more new dinosaurs, which I've painted all of those. I'm still painting the new people in the game, the sort of survivors, because this is based on, or the premise of the game is that you were on a cruise, and it sort of went through a sort of Bermuda Triangle type time tunnel wormhole thing, and they ended up crashing into this island that's still inhabited by dinosaurs. So they've built up a township stroke city, they've used scrap from the boat, and then episodes 1 and 2 was them sort of getting to grips with the island and building up their sort of town, and 3 and 4 is them delving more onto the island, but also hopefully in episode 4 you're trying to then rebuild the ship, get off the island, and hopefully go back home. So a very sort of heavy storyline game, and one where you can play a campaign from episodes 1 right through to episode 4. So that's Perseverance, and that's by Mind Clash. So next on the list we have a game called Orloj Prague Astronomical Clock. So this is a new game this year, and I don't believe it's even out on retail yet. I got this because somebody had picked it up in Essen, and again decided it wasn't for them for some reason, for either themselves and or their group. Again, it's 1 to 4 players, and this is absolutely beautiful on the table. I've played this a couple of times solo, not got to play it as a group yet, but I think my group will really love this. This is a game where you can build up a lot of combos on your turn, where you sort of do one action and that will trigger a lot more, but it absolutely is so bang full of colour and looks fantastic on the table. If you get this out as a game, I'm sure you're going to have people crowding round your table wanting to know what this game is. As I say, it's Orloj Prague Astronomical Clock. It is by Periloco Games, and it's coming out on retail hopefully in the early part of 2026, where we are now. I know a lot of people have got this up on their websites for pre-order, round about sort of £55–60 I believe this is, and it's well worth it. I think this is a cracking game, and once my group get to play this, I think they're really going to love that. So next on the list we have is a game that I've had again for some time, and that is Kemet. So Kemet, again, another area control game. We do play a lot of area control games within my group, basically because we do really like those types of games, and they do really sort of go down well with the players and the people that I get to play regularly with. This is obviously set in ancient Egypt, but with a sort of twist where, you know, you can do a bit of sort of magic here and there. There is a new version of this coming out, or some upgrades and things for this game coming out. I'm hopefully being sent some bits, because up until now you can't play this game solo, but they are bringing a solo set of rules and components out. So hopefully once I get those in the next week or two, it's on its way to me from France, I'll be able to get this to the table as a solo and see how that plays. But yeah, this for quite some time we played this quite regularly, but again, it's a game that we haven't got to the table enough really over the last few years. So once that solo thing has come in, I might try and get that back on the table with the group. So that was Kemet at number 14. At number 13 was a game that used to be on my top 10 list, and that is Dwellings of Eldervale. So as you can see here, again another very big box by Breaking Games. They've also brought out a sci-fi version of this. I think it's called Andromeda's Edge. I did have it, I did back it when I got it. I hadn't got Dwellings to the table enough, and I thought, do I really need two of them of that size on my sort of shelf that wouldn't get played, and I chose to keep this one. This one's a fantasy theme and slightly had the edge for me over Andromeda's Edge. I played Andromeda's Edge solo, but I've played this solo a number of times, including I've got a playthrough from some years ago on my channel if you want to check that out. But Dwellings of Eldervale is an absolutely fantastic game. It's a bit of a table hog, as you can probably tell by the size of the box, but there is a lot going on. The map changes, the board changes every game because they're randomly drawn tiles. You get I think a set of 5 that are always out there, and then the rest are put out based on which players and which colours and which factions are out and people are playing, and then you draw the others out randomly. When you land on certain tiles, you can pick a new tile and you can put that out and build up the map. So that is number 13, and then next we've got Brass Birmingham in at number 12. So this obviously is the number 1 game on BGG. I really love this game. There's no official solo mode again, but there are some available on different sites, including BGG, one of which I downloaded, and I sit and play this quite often, and it is really good. The person who thought up the solo mode for this really did a cracking job. There's a new one going to GameFound, I believe, in February of this year, called Brass Pittsburgh, and that looks really good. A few changes from this, some extra bits and pieces in the game, so I'm probably going to back that, and hopefully that will come next year, because they do take a long while these days, games to turn up. Some games take far too long, in my opinion, to come from the time that you pay your sort of backing pledge. You know, 18 months I think is far too long. If you've got the game already there, done and dusted, 18 months to get it produced, far too long. So anyway, the last game in this particular half of the video, so number 11, is Skyrise. Now this again is a game that I got, I can't remember if I got it as a swap or whether I purchased it, but I purchased it, I know, off a Facebook board game site, and I'm so glad I did. This is a cracking game. We always enjoy playing this, and we've played it several times. This is the deluxe version with the plastic islands and all of the sort of plastic buildings, and they are absolutely beautiful, and such a cool and well thought out and simple game premise that literally every building in the game has a numbered value, and all the buildings are uniquely numbered. No player has got the same number of a building as any of the other players, and you basically put them down into these areas, these coloured areas of the board, and you're bidding by the value of the building that you put down. So if you put down a building that's 53, the next person needs to put down a building that is higher than that if they want to continue and try and win an area on the board. But they don't put that in the same area that you've done, they have to put it into an adjacent area. So if you pick an area and nobody else bids against you, you will win that with your building. You flip it up, there's a token on there, you get the benefit, and you've won, and you are now the architect, and you've built your building in that particular part of that sort of section of the sky city, because this is a city that's being built in the sky, and you're all architects. If you can keep continuing round, everybody can bid and bid higher than you. It'll come back, it could come back to you. And if you have another building that's higher than the one that is now the highest bid, you can take off your build, you leave the buildings on, but you can put a new building down of a higher number, and only when everybody has decided that they don't want to bid against you does the person who has the highest bid win that particular plot of land. And then everybody takes their buildings back that they put their bids on, and all of those areas become available again for somebody to put down. And the only stipulation is that each time you start a new bid, you put it next to a building that's already being occupied, or one of the 4 on the centre island, and that's it. And then at the end of the game you tot up your scores, because you'll get points for different categories. You've got a board where each time you get one of the area tokens, you'll fill up your board, and you put those tokens down, and each of those buildings and areas are worth a certain amount of points depending on how many of those tokens that you've collected through the game. You also get some bonus tokens that you can put on your board. But once this is starting to sort of be played out, it's an absolutely beautiful game on the tabletop. And we've had quite a few people come over when we played saying, you know, whoa, what's that? It looks really cool, really nice. Again, 2 to 4 player. I don't think anybody's done a solo mode for this, and I'm not sure you could really. But the thing is with this, it doesn't need one. It's such a nice game to play between 2 to 4 players that, you know, we get to play this at least once or twice a year, and we always enjoy playing it. So there we have it. That is my number 11 game in my 20 to 11 video of games in my collection that either myself and my friends have played. So as I say, there's 1 or 2 games here that where I've only played so far on my own. That would be Orloi and Perseverance. Everything else we've played together as a group. So this particular section, 8 out of the 10 games have been played by at least more than 1 player. But yeah, this is the, as I say, the first video. So keep an eye out for video 2, which will take us down from 10 to 1. And as I say, in that video I will be releasing the details of the competition. And if you want to check out any of my other videos on my channel, then by all means do so. You'll find it here. And obviously you can click on the link or the video sort of title and the sort of logo for the Games Kingdom, and it'll take you into all of my other videos that I've done. The other video for this list will be coming out in a week or two's time. Once this has sort of had a chance to sort of get a few views, I'll probably do one sort of closer to the end of January, maybe early February, where I do the second list, and that will have the details of the competition and the prize. The prize will be something to do with one of the new games that has entered my top 10 list for this year, and as I say, I'll be hopefully giving that away to somebody. All you need to do is comment on both videos with your your game that corresponds to that particular list. So in this list, which game in your collection would make your between 20 and 11 top games, and then in the second one which game would make your 10 to 1 list. As I say, you don't need to necessarily tell me whether that's your number 1 game, your number 15 game, whatever, but by all means do so, and let me know what you think to the games in this and also in the other video. And until we do another one of these and we come back with the 10 to 1 list, it's bye for now.